I think we have to be honest here. According to many analysts, France's government is about to collapse. On September 8th, the Prime Minister is expected to lose a confidence vote he called on himself, a gamble that has backfired spectacularly. This single event could trigger a market meltdown, empower the far right, and plunge the European Union's second largest economy into turmoil. This isn't just a French political drama, it's a potential warning shot for the entire Eurozone. Prime Minister François Bayrou's government is staking its survival on a deeply unpopular austerity budget. In response, opposition parties from the far left to Marine Le Pen's far right have united with one single goal: bring the government down. The crisis threatens to leave France paralyzed and leaderless, facing massive social unrest amid mounting economic danger. So, how did France get pushed to the limit? And what happens when the dominoes begin to fall? Hi everyone, I'm George Economou, a PhD economist, and before we start our analysis, take a moment and hit that subscribe button. Almost 90% of you, my dear viewers, are non-subscribers, and I know you can find some value from these analyses. Also, you will help the channel a lot, and videos like this one will find more curious minds like you. At the heart of the crisis is a risky gamble. Prime Minister François Bayrou, facing a hung parliament, has triggered a vote of confidence to pass his budget. It's a high-stakes bet, daring his opponents to either back his painful cuts or take the blame for the chaos that follows. The problem is that this bet is almost guaranteed to fail. Opposition parties from the far left to Marine Le Pen's far right have united to defeat the government, and last-ditch negotiations have gone nowhere. This drama is a direct result of President Emmanuel Macron's own gamble in June 2024. His call for a snap election backfired, fracturing parliament into three warring blocs: Macron's centrists, the left-wing New Popular Front, and Le Pen's National Rally. With no single group able to command a majority, the result has been permanent gridlock. If and when Bayrou loses the vote, France will enter uncharted territory. President Macron will have lost his third prime minister in a year and will have to appoint a new one. But with no new elections legally possible until mid-2025, any new government will face the same hostile, deadlocked parliament. This collapse will leave France rudderless as a monumental economic storm gathers. This political chaos is fueled by decades-long economic crisis. The numbers are daunting. France's public debt is around a record 3.35 trillion euros, or about 114% of its GDP, the third highest in the EU. Last year's budget deficit hit 5.8%, nearly double the EU limit of 3%. France has been living beyond its means, and the bill is coming due. This is why Bayrou staked his government on a radical 44 billion euros austerity budget. The severe cuts include a freeze on government spending, a halt to inflation adjustments for pensions, and a plan to eliminate 2 public holidays, effectively making people work 2 extra days for free. The public reaction has been furious, with polls showing most people want the government to fall. The cuts are seen as an attack on the working class, especially after the unpopular pension reforms. Now, major trade unions are calling for nationwide strikes, drawing parallels to the Yellow Vests protests that paralyzed France in 2018. The Prime Minister has warned of chaos, but for millions of French citizens, the government's budget is the chaos, and they are preparing to take to the streets. As politicians debate, financial markets are delivering their verdict. The prospect of a government collapse has sent shockwaves through the financial world. The interest rate spread between French and German bonds has widened to a worrying 80 basis points or 0.8%, meaning investors now see France as a much riskier bet. The country's stock market and major bank stocks have also taken a hit. This isn't just a French problem, it's a European one. As the EU's second largest economy, France's instability poses a systemic risk. The nightmare scenario is a domino effect, where a loss of confidence in France triggers a contagion that spreads to other indebted nations, reigniting the Eurozone debt crisis of 2010-2012. Credit rating agencies like Moody's are watching closely and have warned of a possible downgrade. A downgrade would force many global funds to sell French bonds, causing borrowing costs to spiral and potentially triggering a full-blown fiscal crisis. If the government falls, the planned 44 billion euros savings will evaporate, putting France on a collision course with Brussels. The European Central Bank has an emergency tool to calm the markets, but it has never been tested under this kind of pressure. All eyes are on Paris because France's crisis could determine the financial stability of the entire continent. So, with the government's defeat all but certain, France faces a future with no easy option. First, Macron could appoint another centrist prime minister, but that wouldn't change the math in the parliament. The new government would still lack a majority, leading to the same gridlock and continued instability. A second radical option is a technocratic government, a cabinet of unelected experts to manage the country until new elections. This might pause the infighting, but it would be deeply undemocratic and likely face a public backlash, as it was never tested before. The third and most explosive possibility involves the far right. Marine Le Pen's National Rally is the largest opposition party and she is demanding new elections, betting she could win an outright majority. While Macron is legally blocked from calling one for now, the pressure will be immense. Giving in could pave the way for a far-right government in France for the first time, a political earthquake that would reshape the entire Europe. The crisis has concerned President Macron. His popularity has plummeted amid widespread anger over the gridlock. He is trapped between the market's demand for austerity and a public that refuses to pay the price. His snap election gamble failed, and now every choice could push France deeper into crisis. This situation is developing by the hour. The vote on September 8th will be a pivotal moment not just for France, but for all of Europe. To stay up to date with in-depth analysis as this crisis unfolds, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. So to recap, France is in a precarious position facing a convergence of political collapse, economic anxiety and social upheaval. The impending fall of the government isn't just another headline. It is the culmination of years of mounting debt, political fragmentation and public anger. There are no simple solutions. Every path forward appears to lead to more uncertainty and more instability. What happens next will not only determine the future of France, but could also send tremors across the entire global financial system. This is a nation on the precipice and the world is watching this. So what do you think that will happen? Leave a comment below and for sure I will read it and I will answer it. Thank you all for watching. See you on Thursday. Bye bye.